Hey guys, Message Up here, and today I'm going to be running through Spellblade Aluriel. This is a little bit of a long fight, so excuse me as it's going to be a little bit long-winded, but hopefully we'll make it through together and be able to learn something. You'll notice that I pre-potted and we all ran to Skull. That's because our range default standing place is Skull. We have two default soakers that will be standing out here, and people that get the first Marks of Frost will go to the right on the moon in the square and knock together at 8. And the second will go to the left and knock together at 8 or at 10. And knock it back and forth between them and the soakers, because when you knock together, it always goes to the closest set. So you'll notice that I'm just standing here DPSing the boss like I normally would, keeping my agony up and my corruption up, and sinking my UAs into the target. I don't have to refresh as often because I don't have to do the Siphon Life global. So you notice I get 2 UA dumps for every refresh. I'm keeping these under the reefs because I got really lucky on this pull. I've gotten tons of reefs on this, so it's very easy, especially with the new gold trait. You notice that our two ranged that had Mark of Frost knocked a little bit too early, so I ended up getting it, and a melee guy ended up getting it. So we both move over to here so that we can knock it back onto the soakers. You'll notice that one of them actually returned to the middle, so I end up staying out here. And then we just hang out here in our little group of 5 because we don't want to lose too much damage from moving around. You notice me still just dumping my damage onto the ads as they're spawning. It's not a huge deal, just kind of sitting there. They don't really do anything. I'm making sure that I'm saving a bunch of reaps for when they come out so that I can get as much damage as possible as I can onto the frost ads. And then other than that, I'm just sitting here making sure that I'm doing my frost stacks. We usually stack it to 10 at this stage, and then we bounce it back and forth at 10. So I just stay out here. This is fire phase, so we're all spreading out a little bit so that we aren't standing in the lines. You don't want to get hit by someone else's mark or you're going to have a really bad time. So how we do this phase is we usually assign 2 people to a marker. I'm assigned to Moon, so if I have the fire debuff, I run into Moon and detonate the mark there. But because I didn't have one, I just stood around it and did nothing. You notice that up here by the star, that there's 2 touching. We'll have one of the DKs grip them away, just so that they don't get enraged. So this one was pretty easy. We end up having a pretty free time here. I end up just once again spamming my Seed of Corruption, making sure my Infernal's kind of in between 2 of them so I can get a good stun off. I end up stunning like 2 of them ish because I put it in between them, and then I targeted down my Moon ad because that's my responsibility, is you get down the ad of your mark, and then I return to just normally DPSing the boss. So this is so on Arcane phase you kind of want to move out a little bit to the back, and you don't want to be stacking. I kind of make a mistake by running into the middle of 2 people. You'll notice that I kind of keep shimmying, but I'm trying to keep my damage up. And also there's no Fell Soul here, so I'm not really too worried. We move in a little bit too much because we're moving early. We had one of the orbs on our old stack point, so I ended up moving to the other side. And we just sit here DPSing the boss in melee mode, and as she's doing detonate, all those things are going to be starting to jump on you, so we keep shimmying across, and then we reset, and then we make sure we're not in front of the boss for annihilate so we don't get one shot. So here you'll notice that we're just doing a normal I'm just doing my normal rotation, waiting for the ads to come up, and as soon as the ads are up, I'm going to wait until she gets closer to the ads, and then I'm going to start just spamming my Seed of Corruption with my reap up. I just make sure that I get as many seeds out as I can. It's extremely important. And then I reset for Frost phase. Because once again, you go through the phases. On progression, you'll most likely go through each phase twice. So it's not uncommon that you would get the Arcane phase twice, but because we have very high damage, and also because we have a pretty effective strategy and we have the ability to recover because we've done it so many times, we kind of just we're getting through these phases pretty quickly. Not too much more. This is just the Frost phase. I just kind of sit here doing my rotation. We actually end up having a lot of people die here because we handle this very poorly. We end up having one of the Fell Souls that just went into the range, killed a healer, and then one of the healers died to the Frost. So you'll notice there I noticed that I'm running Faramir's instead of running my Whispers, which was an accident. And then, just like first phase, I save my reaps up, I wait for the ads to get into her melee range, and then I just sit there spamming my Seed of Corruption. The tanks are having a little bit of a hard time picking up the ads, unfortunately, but we had a little bit of a mess on this pull. Everyone was kind of talking a bit loud because we were having a lot of blunders in one run. So you'll notice here, once again, we don't really have our stack points because we don't have enough people, so we're just kind of doing it free. And I'm just calling which side I'm from, so that when I knock together, they can go to the right side. So you notice here, I'm kind of standing close to one of the marks, so that when they knock together, I'll get one of them. And then once again, I'll sit there doing my thing. Locks are pretty tanky, so if you can take a mechanic, usually you want to try to do it because it's really, really good for you because you can kind of just tank more than any other class can. You notice here, once again, I'm just making sure that I'm not standing in the way of one of these lines so that I don't get smacked. And just like normal, I'm just sitting here DPSing the boss as hard as I can. It was a little bit of a sloppy pull for me. My damage was actually rather low for what I usually do, but I've had a rough time at 7.2 for this boss, but that's about it. It's not too complicated. The damage can get a little bit crazy. Even we've killed it for weeks and it still had problems for it. If you have any questions about the fight, just let me know. Send me leave a comment, send me a whisper, send me a message on Reddit or on YouTube, and I'll make sure that I get back to you. Thanks guys for watching, and like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more.